channel. Today we are going to go through episode 25 of the One Lonely Owl podcast. My name is Terry and I will be your host. Today I have a lot more knitting than I've had in the past. I've gotten a little bit of my mojo back, so I hope you stick around and join me for that. There's a sort of a half-finished object, a finished object, a couple of new whips, and some exciting up-and-coming stuff. So hope you join me and we will have some fun together. So grab your knitting, grab your favorite drink, sit and knit for a bit, like Arne and Carlos. So today I will go through my typical segments, but I'm not going to describe what each segment means. If you're new here, my name is Terry. I'm from Newfoundland. I live in central Alberta, Canada, and I generally use some language from Newfoundland to describe some of the things that we do around here. Today I won't describe those, so if you're looking to get some descriptions, you can use Google. I don't know how helpful Google will be with Newfoundland terminology, or you can go back to previous episodes and see what they have to say, and I can explain them in previous episodes. I'm pretty sure I've described every piece of language or phrase in previous episodes, so you should just be able to go back to any episode between 1 through 24 and be able to figure it out. As always, I will have show notes in the description box, which you will find right below this video. And I'm kind of winging it today. So I decided I had about a half an hour before my kids got home from school. So I decided I would give it a go and see if I could whip out a podcast, because my last one took me quite some time to edit and took me way longer to post on YouTube than I would have liked. So I kind of wanted to get one hammered out today. With no further ado, I will begin with, so normally I do an episode, segment called Mugup. I've already had 2 cups of tea today, so I will be drinking from my trusty thermo flask water bottle. You will, I've talked about this one in previous episodes. It's covered in stickers of various meanings and stories and the like, but I'm not going to be drinking anything special other than out of my water bottle today. The second segment is La, which is what I'm wearing. I'm not wearing anything of knitwear today. I'm not wearing socks. I'm wearing some sweatpants, an undershirt, and this sort of hoodie. This hoodie that friends of mine, we did a retreat in 2003, and I had these hoodies made for us. Quite warm. So I don't really want to have any knitwear on today. So not wearing anything today. The next segment is normally, I believe, Whatta Ya At. And Whatta Ya At is where I talk about what I am currently working on. So I've been holding on to this sock blocker. It'll make more sense in a moment, but I'm just going to lay it down for a second. First, I'm going to show a shawl that I've been knitting. I'm pretty sure my family doctor doesn't watch this, so I'm safe to share with you. I cannot, for the life of me, remember the pattern. If I have the wherewithal and I figure out the pattern name, I'll just put it here. And like I said, I'll link everything in the description box below, so you should be able to find it down there. It's a pretty simple shawl. I know it's not the boomerang shawl, but it's something like that where, sorry, it's a giant tangled mess at the moment, where you increase on one side and decrease on the other side, so the shawl sort of grows in a typical shawl type shape. Here it is in all its glory. I had some pink colors in Polkadot Creek that I've had in my stash for quite some time. If you're new here, you haven't heard me talk about Polkadot Creek. If you are not new here, you hear me talk about them all the time. Polkadot Creek is a sort of boutique yarn shop. They have 3 locations. Again, if you want to know more, Polkadot Creek's yarn, their website will be below, so go ahead and take a look. So I had a bunch of pink yarn that I don't like pink, so I won't use for myself. My family doctor loves pink, and she is wonderful and quite literally saved mine and my husband's lives. Again, if you're looking for that story, previous episodes will explain all that. So I decided I was going to knit her one of these over this winter. So again, can't remember the name of it or the designer, so I'll put that below. But it's a super simple, I actually even believe it might be a free pattern. It's a very simple, basic, you know, increase on one side, decrease on the other, and garter stitch shawl. So that I quite like. I haven't really worked on it in a little bit, but it is new since the last time I recorded. So I think maybe I started it in mid-December. I will say I am knitting it on my Kollage knitting needles. If you're not familiar with Kollage, if you're Canadian, they are a Canadian company. They are in Ontario, I believe. And I am pretty sure that they employ persons with disabilities. So I wanted to try them because they are square. And if you haven't heard me talk about it before, I had some pretty nasty side effects with arthritis in my hands. So I gave these a shot and I really, really enjoy them. I will say they can be a little polarizing because I purchased the interchangeable kit. They come with sort of a stiff cord and a very, very flimsy cord. If you're familiar with ChiaoGoo, I would say the stiff cord is stiffer than the ChiaoGoo cord, and the sort of limp cord is much, much looser than any other cord I've ever... It basically feels like string. I really enjoy this, but I do have some knitting friends who do not. They think it's way too flimsy and they're not a big fan. But if you have arthritis, or if you're looking for something to try, and, you know, for hand fatigue or whatnot, Kollage is a great company, and if you're local, I say local as in sort of like Alberta or even Canada, check your local yarn store. I know that my local yarn store, who I will talk about a lot, is the Yarn Merchant, which is located in Didsbury, Alberta. Again, all their information will be below in the description box. Lori and Scott run the Yarn Merchant out of Didsbury, Alberta, and it's absolutely wonderful. I know that they carry Kollage needles as well. I'm pretty certain they have interchangeable sets. I know they have fixed needles behind their cache, so I see them there often, so I know that they have those in stock. If you're looking for something specific, maybe take a look on the website, because I do know that they have, their website is updated regularly, and they always have fun, cool stuff there. The bag that it is being held in, is a bag that I knit for myself. I'm pretty sure it's called the Ilene bag, and I cannot recall the name of the designer, so I will put that below, and then I'll link it in the description box. But again, pretty sure it's the Ilene bag, and it is knit out of Handicrafter cotton that I have a ridiculous collection of. The next, I guess it's technically considered a half-finished object, which I don't actually have anymore. Speaking about the Yarn Merchant, Lori is putting on a sock knit-along for January for 6 weeks. And the sock knit-along is for sort of like a beginner sock knit. It is the Easy Peasy sock pattern, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. Cannot remember the designer, so I will write that below, but it is the Easy Peasy sock. And she asked me to knit one in cotton so that she could have a sample of one knit in cotton. So, very inexpensive way to knit a pair of socks. They are worsted weight and 1 ball of Sudz, which is Estelle Sudz, also obviously sold at the Yarn Merchant. 1 ball makes 1 sock. So 2 balls of Sudz and you have a pair of house socks. They are I guess I would consider myself a somewhat experienced sock knitter. The Easy Peasy socks are exactly how they sound. They're easy peasy. If you're new to knitting socks, or if you're new to knitting in the round, or increasing and decreasing, or heel flaps and gussets, they may not be the easiest. I wouldn't say they'd be easy, but they're definitely beginner friendly. Definitely good for a beginner, the sock pattern. So I knit one of those already, and I've already given it to Lori for the shop. If I have a photo, I'll just post that in here so you can see what it looks like when it's finished. If I don't have a photo, maybe I'll ask Lori to send me a picture of it or something. But yeah, that was the other, that's a half finished object, so technically a work in progress. But I've kept the other ball of yarn because we're going to be doing a knit along at the Yarn Merchant next week. We're starting, and it'll be a 6-week knit along where the individuals that sign up to do the knit along will have assistance from myself, from Lori, the shop owner, and one of her other instructors will be doing, some of us will be knitting on magic loop, and the others will be knitting on DPNs. I think I'm going to be doing magic loop unless Lori really needs me to do them on DPNs. I can knit on DPNs, I would just rather not. So I'll just sort of be there in whatever capacity she needs me to be in. So that's why I've reserved this ball. It is sitting with my Kollage needles. Again, I have another pair ready to go. Don't know if you can see those, if it's trying to focus on my face. But I have those ready to go in their bag, ready to start the sock knit along with the entire group so that we can knit it all together at the same time. So that is in this project bag as well. The other thing that I did the other day, I suppose you could say following along the sailor slippers, I have wanted a pair of felted slippers for literally about 20 plus years. At least, yeah, 23 years. So in 2003, my old roommate had a very good friend who had this pair of felted slippers, and I coveted them. And she said to me that her mom had made these felted slippers for her in 2003. So I got the pattern from her, I borrowed the pattern from her, and this was back in the day, I believe, before Ravelry even existed. And I still have that pattern. I still have it here in my little binder of foraged patterns that I found in places, and my grandmother's knitting and all that. And I had a pair of socks. Now this sock is inside out, so this is, again, I apologize, I don't remember the pattern but it's like your typical worsted weight, very simple. This was a cuff down, 2x2 rib, heel flap and gusset, Kitchener the toe. Sock that I made a pair for myself. I actually made them for my dad, but they were too small. And then I made a pair for my dad. So we had a pair of matching slippers, and I don't know, a couple of years into wearing them, we had both worn holes in either the heel or up near the base of the toe. So I had salvaged the slippers from my dad. I said, don't throw those out. I'll, repurpose the wool, or I'll mend them. The holes were massive, so I decided not to mend them. They sat languishing just over here for a few years, probably a couple of years. And finally I decided I was going to tear apart the sock and salvage the yarn and make a pair of felted slippers out of them. So this is the last sock out of the 4. It's been sitting in this bag because I can't find the end. That's why the sock is turned inside out, because I'm trying to find the Kitchenered end. I'll eventually find it. It's not at the top of my list of things to do at the moment, so it's just sitting here for when I actually find the end and I can unravel it and then repurpose the yarn. So that's in this bag as well. So sort of a bag of whips. The next half finished object that I will share, this bag, if you're new here you wouldn't know, but if you have been around before, this bag is not unfamiliar to you. This is the Field Bag by Grainline Studios. Fringe Supply Company was making these bags back in the day. I wanted one. By the time I wanted one, they weren't selling them anymore, so I made my own. Again, I talk at length about that in previous episodes, so go ahead and look those up. Here is the one I was thinking of. There it is. And then I need this guy as well. This is basically my little bag of socks. You have seen these socks before. These are the birthday socks. My best friend gave me a birthday gift. I think it was 2024. So November 2024. She gave me this ball of yarn, or the other ball of yarn, and then I made these socks out of it. I have been carrying them around because the yarn merchant, I spend a lot of time there, and Lori and I had been talking about the possibility of doing a little bit of a learning lab where people, if you want to see what it looks like to cut a heel in an afterthought heel, like cut your sock so that you can knit an afterthought heel. So I've been sort of hanging on to these so that if she wants me to show people that, then I can do that. But these socks are not finished because they do need heels. They're just little tubes at the moment. Again, I have a sock recipe, so if you want to know what that is, I talk about it in pretty much every episode because I always have a sock on the needles. And yeah, that's what I will do with these. I'll do an afterthought heel in these. I apologize, I don't have the ball band, cannot remember what it is, and don't even know where to look. So actually, I could probably text my best friend. She might know. She'll at least know where she got the yarn from. Anyway, probably from Stash. She lives in Calgary, and I'm going to get Stash is the closest yarn shop to her. So I'm going to guess that's where she got this yarn. But that is this pair of unfinished socks. But I don't know if I'd call them a work in progress or not, because I'm kind of holding on to them in case Lori wants me to use them at the learning lab so that we can teach people how to do afterthought heels. The next half finished object, I guess, work in progress. This sock itself is not a work in progress, but this is a finished sock, fully finished, toes, heels, cuffs, the whole 9 yards. Is a sock that I knit as a sample for the yarn merchant. I have offered my services to knit for Lori. I don't need any more knitting. I don't need scarves or hats or mittens, or I don't need anything. I don't need socks. I don't need sweaters. So I said to Lori that I will gladly, until I decide I don't want to anymore, I will gladly knit for her. So I decided I would do sock knitting. She asked me to specifically knit out of a couple of sock yarns. This is one of them. So that's what the finished sock looks like. This one, as you can see, already has a heel. I did a German short row heel for this one. Again, if you're new here, you wouldn't know this, but each year I kind of do a New Year's resolution where I pick a thing that I want to accomplish in the new year, and it's always related to knitting. I don't use New Year's resolutions the typical way. I wanted to learn a new heel. So I knit a German short row heel on this sock, and that one's ready to go to the shop as a shop sample. I will knit its pair, but before I do that, I'm going to knit a second, like a different yarn, another sock to go into the shop as a sample, so that she at least has one sock to go with the yarn as a sample. So this one, like I said, this is made out of bamboo. I will apologize because the ball band is not in English. I do know it says bamboo socks. 63% polyacryl, 30% viscose, 7% polyester. I don't know which of those means bamboo, but anyway, it's a fingering weight yarn. It's a 100-gram ball, and I'm certain I'll get 2 socks out of it. I might even get 2 full pairs, like a pair of long socks and a pair of shorties. But this is the label right here, bamboo socks. Hopefully you can see that okay. At the time of recording, it's $16 a ball, which for bamboo I think is pretty incredible. I think that is a smoking deal. So that is this guy. Just a plain old self-striping bamboo sock. The thing that I will share about that is when you hold that bamboo ball of yarn in a ball, it's quite weird feeling. It's really springy and really Not what you would typically think to knit socks in, but I've tried that sock on. I've worn it around a little bit, and it's so great. It feels, the yarn feels really nice in the hand. It feels lovely on the foot. I haven't worn it around enough to notice if I get warm or not with it, and of course it's only one sock, so I don't know that I would or not, but really enjoy the yarn when it's knit up. Found it really strange to, like, when you hold it in ball form, when it's in its little peanut. The sort of future knitting, I'm just going to move right over to that. This is the segment called Now to Once. Took me a minute. Now to Once is what I'm going to do next. This is a ball of Arne and Carlos yarn. It's got my sock needles all ready to go because I literally just finished that sock, the bamboo sock, so I was about to cast this one on. I haven't quite yet because I like to cast on and do the whole toe before I move on to any other, like when I pick it up to cast it on, I want to be able to cast on and get the toe done, basically. So this is Arne and Carlos. The colorway is, oh, I didn't tell you the colorway of that one. Not even sure if it had a colorway on the bamboo one. I'm sure it did. Oh, might be 967 or it might be 656785. Not exactly sure. I don't even know what language this is in. Maybe German? Norwegian? Turkey. Probably Turkish. Anyway, the colorway might be 967. It might also be 656785. But it's sort of a blue stripe. This Arne and Carlos sock yarn, I was so excited to get my hands on this. So Lori and Scott had ordered this, and when it came in, I said, like, I want to knit you a sock sample for that. So I went ahead and picked it up as soon as I could. This is the Arne and Carlos sock yarn. And it's made in Romania. If you know Arne and Carlos, if you don't, Google them, they're wonderful. Color 377, no, lot 377, color 07028. And it is 75% virgin wool and 25% recycled polyamide. Oh, I was going to show you what it knits up like. So when it knits, I don't know if you can see this very well, but I will try to keep my face. That's what it will knit up like. I love a self-striping sock. Really, really love myself a self-striping sock because it becomes a little bit potato chippy. You just keep going and going. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the German short row heel in this sock. I haven't decided yet. I might try a different heel. I don't know, but we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. I don't know if it's sort of showing as true to color on the screen because my screen is tiny and I can't really see it from here. So it's a little bit of a muted brown, blue, gray, burgundy sort of colors. I'm really excited to see what it actually knits up like. So I'll show you that once I get there, but that's going to be the next thing on my needles. So that's for Now to Once. I sort of skipped over the one and only thing that I have finished, although I would count those socks as mostly finished. The only thing that I did from start to finish and actually is wearable by somebody in its form is a toque that I made for my son. If you're not from Canada, a toque is like a hat beanie. It's, again, I'm pretty sure it was a free pattern. I can't remember what it was called. The 2x2 ribbed beanie or something like that. I'll have put it below and I'll link it in the description box. But my son has very sensitive skin and he hates hats. So I brought him down here into this room and I asked him to pick out something that was going to work for him because it's very cold where we live in the wintertime and he needs to wear a hat to school, getting on and off the bus, playing on the playground at school, going out for walks with us, and he refuses to wear one. So he picked out some yarn that I had in my stash. It is wool-like. What is not Lion Brand wool-like. Oh gosh. Hold on. I have a skein right here. Loops and Threads. So this is a Michaels brand, Loops and Threads wool-like. Again, I have some of this in my stash. I've had it for years, and I didn't really have it earmarked for anything. And so he decided that he wanted a marled hat with purple and green. So I made him this. Again, I hope to get the color right. I really like how this turned out. It was a simple knit, really, really easy. Again, I'm pretty sure it was a free pattern on Ravelry. It fits my husband's head. He's got a massive noggin. It fits my 8-year-old boy. It fits me. My hair's a bit of a mess and I'm really hot, but I'll just sort of put it on so you can see. You can fold it up so that there's a little bit more coverage for your ears. You can make it a little bit like a, I don't know what you'd call, like a hipster type style hat. Not really how I wear my hats, but, and my son can wear it because it doesn't bother his forehead. I actually had him take the balls of wool in my yarn stash and just sort of do this with it and rub it on his forehead until he decided whether it was going to be itchy or not. So this one is a winner. He's worn it a bunch already. My husband's worn it a couple of times. Really, really super happy about that one. I just realized this is why I had the sock blocker, because I wanted to show you the finished sock that I had with the bamboo on the sock blocker, and I didn't even do that. So here you go. Even though we've already talked about it. Apologies for it hasn't been blocked yet, and I knit magic loop, so there's a little bit of a ridge in the middle of the sock. That will block out easily. So there you go. Ta-da! Thumbnail! Let's see. Again, flying by the seat of my pants today. Oh, I apologize. I did want to mention in Now to Once is I think I'm going to knit a ranunculus. I think that's actually going to be the name of this episode as well. I think I'm going to knit a ranunculus. I finally decided that enough's enough. The ranunculus has been out since 2017. It's been on the hot right now, I don't know, first page or second page since then, so almost 10 years on the front page. So yeah, it's about time. I'm not really a lace knitter. I don't really wear lace, but I purchased the pattern. I spoke to Lori about possibly knitting her a sample for the shop. Like I said, I don't need sweaters. I'm not really a lace type person. I'm a, jeans and t-shirt kind of gal. But I wanted to knit a ranunculus and see what all the hype is about. And so I just figure I'll jump right in and knit one for Lori for the shop. And then if I like it, then I'll do one for me eventually. And if not, then at least Lori gets to have one for the shop and I've had the experience of knitting it. I think that's it. No, sorry. Best Kind and Jiggs and Reels. Sorry. Jiggs and Reels, I'm not going to get into too much. I haven't really been listening to any music at all. I have been listening to audiobooks. I've been reading a ton. I've been reading on like paper copies of books. I have been reading on my Kobo and listening to audiobooks. I ordered a bunch of books from Fireside Books in Parksville, British Columbia. And what else? Yeah. Goodreads. My Goodreads is below. So if you want to look at what I'm reading, if you want to see what my reviews are, I just finished reading City of Thieves by David Benioff. Absolutely loved it. If you're new here, spoiler alert, it's World War II. It's a historical fiction based on David Benioff's grandfather, I believe, who went through the war, but I'm pretty sure it's historical fiction. Sort of based on some of the stories that his grandfather told him. Absolutely loved it. What else have I read? I've been reading just some like fluffy books, some knitting, cozy murder mysteries, knitting related books, just things that sort of fill up my cup. So my Goodreads, again, my Goodreads account will be linked below if you're looking for me. I think I'm One Lonely Owl, no spaces, no capitals or anything. And Best Kind. Best Kind is where I talk about things that are filling up my cup. I can't even begin in this episode to explain what the Yarn Merchant has been for me. Scott and Lori have become friends in the very short time that I've known that the shop was there. I spend most of my spare time there. I miss my knitting group from the city, but I live a little bit too far away to drive into the city for knit nights, and I'm not really a big fan of virtual knit nights, so I have adopted the Yarn Merchant as my new sort of hive. Love going there, love spending time with them, love spending money there, love knitting and helping out and being able to just be part of that community again. So that's what I'll say for Best Kind. And if you haven't already, go and look on the website, theyarnmerchant.ca. I think they can do online orders and you can have it shipped to you if you're not local. But if you are local, and what I mean by local is anywhere within Alberta, you can get to the Yarn Merchant. It's an absolutely wonderful yarn shop. Their staff is wonderful, and they have all kinds of really neat things that you can't find in other yarn shops in Alberta. That I have found anyway, and I've been around this scene for a little while. I think that's it. If I've missed anything, I apologize. I haven't said this in a while, but if you do, please thumbs up. If you like the video, please thumbs up. If you are interested in seeing more content like this, go ahead and click subscribe. If you're looking for anything that I've talked about in this episode, everything will be linked in the description box below. I hope to get this posted sooner than the last time, like within a couple of days as opposed to a month or more. And I will see you next time. Until then, stay where you're to, till I comes where you're at. Bye.